All right. All praises. For the people joining us online, welcome. Um, Today we're gonna be bringing this out, man. We're gonna be talking about who is the prince, right? Who is this prince that everyone is so confused about, right? We will be breaking down exactly who he is, right? Is it Yahweh Shai, like the world says, or is it somebody else? Let's pull up the scripts and see what we can find out. Interesting. Okay. All right. So, first and foremost, what's the word on the street about the prince? Right? Let's see what a couple people have to say. This is a page full of some scholarly work. Uh, all these various so-called scholars like to pipe in, right? And on various scriptures and give their commentaries. And you can find entire books dedicated to biblical commentary. Okay. And then you can find aggregate websites or websites that put them all the different commentaries together, like this website here, BibleHub.com, and read them. So here's one of the things, or a couple other things said. The Prince, this is commentary based on Ezekiel chapter 44 and verse 3. It is for the prince, he shall sit in it to eat bread before Yahweh. He shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate and shall go out by the way of the same. All right. Um, so these guys had this to say. Well, who is this prince? The Ellicott's commentary for English readers says, the prince, the rabbis understood this to refer to Messiah. And unquestionably, the same person must be meant as by David in uh, Ezekiel 34, Ezekiel 37 as well. They said this gives another and a conclusive reason for regarding the sacrificial worship of Ezekiel 46 as symbolical. So the point being, they understand it to be Messiah. All right. That's one of uh, the so-called scholars. I think I have another account here. Um, if I can find it quickly, I read through this. One says not King Messiah. Um, Not King Messiah, as he never would offer a burnt offering for himself, as the prince is to do. The prince must mean the civil ruler under Messiah. Okay, now this is important. They're saying the prince is not Messiah, but the prince is the civil ruler who is under Messiah. Why are they saying that? They're saying that because they have this concept, which we will cover a bit later, called the millennial temple. The heathen, um, especially the Christians, say that there is a third temple that will be built. And this third temple is gonna be built during the time when Messiah is reigning on the earth. And this particular prince that Ezekiel is talking about is the person that's gonna be ruling under Messiah. And they also say that this particular temple that Ezekiel is talking about is the third temple. So we're gonna go through the scriptures and see, is there a third temple, right? Is this the third temple that it's talking about? And is this civil ruler indeed the Messiah, right? Yahweh Shai. Let's see. Okay, we'll just go on with what I have. I have two more accounts of who people say the prince is. Okay, so this one particular doctor says the prince is not Messiah, but he doesn't know who it is, right? I'll read here. It says, more than any other chapter in the book, Ezekiel 46 talks about the person called the prince. In fact, 8 times I see his name or title there. right? This is from Dr. Mike Bagwell, all right? He has this website. This is him right there. Um, it says, I earlier wrote that he may be a type of God's reed or red prince, the Lord Jesus Christ. I still think that may be so symbolically speaking. Okay, so this guy is saying he thinks that this prince is a type of Yahweh Shai, a type of prince like Yahweh Shai, right? He says, but he is not literally the son of God. So this guy holds the opinion that it's not literally Yahweh Shai. However, in Isaiah 9:6, the prince is Yahweh Shai the Messiah. That's for sure. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, the government shall be upon his shoulder, his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Amen. And he's correct there. How do I know Ezekiel's prince is not Jesus, he says, right? He says several reasons, and he goes to the reasons. Okay, he goes to the reasons, and then he says, then who is the prince, right? And he says, I suspect a good, godly administrator. So he knows it's not Yahweh Shai, but he says he suspect that it's one of the Most High's administrators. Okay, one in a limited sense leading the Jews during the millennium. So this guy is saying there's going to be an administrator leading the Israelites during the millennium, and that administrator is who Ezekiel is talking about in when he talks about the prince in Ezekiel 45, 44, and 46. He also says this administrator will be giving the people law and order, right? What you're going to see through the scriptures is that this is complete and utter madness, okay? Because the people will not need to be given law and order when Yahweh Shai is here, because the people that will be reigning with Yahweh Shai will know Yahweh, okay? And that's what the Bible says. We'll look at those scriptures. He says, at least that's my best answer I can give to the question. All right. So this guy's best answer is that it's some sort of administrator. So he doesn't know who the prince is. All right. And then we'll look at one more. Um, this is from an Israelite. Listen carefully. Uh, is this sharing? Should be. Okay. Let me know if you guys can hear the YouTube video, okay? Is a chosen one. You guys heard that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Abundance of Israel and for the tribes. You see? So a prince of Israel is a chosen one above thousands, you know. He's gonna lead thousands, he's gonna be over thousands of his tribe. So that's what it means to be a prince of Israel. And the king in Ezekiel 37 and 22 is speaking about Yahweh Shai, the King of Kings. Right. So if you guys notice under here, it says, who is the prince in Ezekiel 45? So he's basically saying the prince of Ezekiel 45 is the chief leader amongst his people. All right. And he gets that from Numbers chapter 1. I believe it's verse 7. And then here in Numbers 7, verse 1 and 2. Okay. So indeed, the prince, when you hear the word prince, it can mean a ruler of the people. Indeed. But he is incorrect in saying that the prince of Ezekiel 45 is basically a chief ruler among one of the Israelite tribes, okay? Because what he shows is that one chief ruler from each tribe was called the prince of that tribe, all right? So he's saying in Ezekiel, that's basically one of those guys, one of the 12 chief leaders of the Israelites picked by the Israelite eldership. That's what he's saying. All right. Um, so as you guys can see, there's a few different opinions And really, there's a lot of confusion. I just showed you guys three. There's a lot more. I'm covering this so that you guys can know definitively who this prince is, because as talk to people about the Most High, or in your own studies, you'll probably come across it. So I'm trying to show you guys from the scriptures, who this prince is. All right. So, which one is it out of these three opinions, right? One says it's a leader of the tribes of Israel. One says it's not Messiah, but it might be an administrator. He's not sure. And one says that it is Messiah Yahushai. So, which one is it? Who is the prince, right? Let's find out with the scriptures, right? I will read from Ezekiel 44 to 46. We'll read that uh, just to get the context of everything, and then we'll start to break it down. All right, so let's go to Ezekiel 44. Right, and we'll read from chapter 44 to chapter 46. Right. Do I have any readers today?
I can read.
I
All
can
right,
read.
great.
I can read.
All right, great. So let's see here. We got 31 verses here, so we'll break it up 10 at a time. And what do you call it? Uh, Akira, you can start. So first 10 verses, go ahead. So again, before you start reading, all we're trying to do is get an overall picture of what's happening at this particular time. All right, and then we're gonna start breaking it down. So go ahead. First 10 verses for you, Sister Akira.
Sorry, I can read them.
Yeah.
Okay, verse 1. Then he brought me back the way of the gate of the outward sanctuary, which looketh toward the east, and it was shut. Then said Yahweh unto me, This gate shall be shut, it shall not be opened, and no man shall enter in by it, because Yahweh, the God of Israel, hath entered in by it. Therefore it shall be shut.
Mm-hmm.
It is for the prince, he shall sit in it to eat bread before Yahweh, and he shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate, and shall go out by the way of the same.
Right. So saying, this prince is gonna come in by the porch of the east gate, and he's gonna leave the temple by the same east gate as well. All right, go ahead. 4. If you're speaking, you're on mute, so I can't hear you. You're at verse 4.
Sorry. Then brought he me the way of the north gate before the house, and I looked, and behold, the glory of Yahweh filled the house of Yahweh,
That's
and
right.
I fell upon my face.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahweh said unto me, Son of man, mark well, and behold with thine eyes, and hear with thine ears all that I say unto thee concerning the ordinances of the house of Yahweh, and all the laws thereof. And mark well the entering in of the house, with every going forth of the sanctuary.
So stop right there. So what is the Most High asking Ezekiel to do? He said, listen and mark well, look with your eyes, right? Hear with your ears, and mark well, meaning take note of everything I'm saying to you concerning what? All the ordinances of what? Sister Akira, all the ordinances of what?
Of the house of Yahweh.
Of the house of Yahweh. What's another name for the house of Yahweh?
Is- Israel.
Yes, the physical building.
Oh, a temple?
That's right. So he's giving him all the ordinances of the temple. That's what's happening in this vision that Ezekiel is having. And this is very important to note, right? That's gonna come up, as we start to break things down. So we know he's giving him ordinances for a temple. The question is, which temple, right? There have only been a limited number of temples, right? And the temple of the future is not well understood, at least not by the heathen, right? So, that's one of the things we're going to answer. What temple is this talking about, right? Go ahead. The house of Yahweh and all the laws. Verse 5.
And yeah, and all the laws thereof. And mark well the entering in of the house, with every going forth of the sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt say to the rebellious, even to the house of Israel, thus said, thus saith Yahweh, O ye house of Israel, let it suffice you of all your abominations,
Mm-hmm.
in that ye have brought into my sanctuary strangers, uncircumcised in heart, and uncircumcised in flesh,
Mm-hmm.
to be in my sanctuary, to pollute it, even my house.
Mm-hmm.
When ye offer my bread to the fat and to the fat and the blood, and they have broken my covenant because of all your abominations.
Right. So note here, just as a side note, the Most High said, "You're bringing in strangers in my temple, man. They're not allowed to be in there. They're not circumcised in their mind, meaning they're not even following the Most High. And they're not circumcised in their flesh either, man." Right? He said, "What the hell are you doing?" Right? Don't have these people here. Right? This is abominable unto me. Right? So go ahead.
And ye have not kept the charge of mine holy things, but ye have set keepers of my charge in my sanctuary for yourselves.
Right.
Thus saith the Lord, saith Yahweh, no stranger, uncircumcised in heart, nor uncircumcised in flesh, shall enter my sanctuary, of any stranger that is among the children of Israel.
Right. So again, as a side note, no person that was not an Israelite could enter the most holy place, okay, to do any kind of work unless they were circumcised in their mind, meaning they were following the law, statutes, and commandments, and they also had to be circumcised in their flesh before they could go into the Most High temple, right? So that's just a thing to note, right? Go ahead. Verse
And the sorry, and the Levites that are gone away far from me, when Israel went astray, which went astray away from me after their idols, they shall even bear their iniquity.
right? So the Most High is telling you the Levites, listen, man, the Levi, and we're gonna find out as we read. He's telling you the Levites that went off. I don't want nothing to do with these guys anymore, right? Because these are supposed to be the priests teaching the people righteousness, and they themselves went off. So they're fired, is what the Most High is saying. And you'll see. Go ahead.
Yet they shall be ministers in my sanctuary, having charge at the gates of the house, and ministering to the house.
To the house. Sorry, demoted, not fired. That's a better description. Go ahead.
They they shall slay the burnt offering and sacrifice for the people, and they shall stand before them to minister unto them.
Right. So the Levites are gonna do what? They're gonna slay. This is important to note because it's gonna come up later. The Levites, the priests, are the one that kill the burnt offering and the sacrifices for the people. All right. They're the ones that are gonna minister unto the people. So the people gonna bring the sacrifice over, and the Levite will slay it. Okay, go ahead. 12. Oh, wait, hold on. It's someone else. Kara, go ahead.
Ye, ye they shall be
Nice,
ministers.
nice and loud, okay? Nice and loud.
Ye they shall be ministers in my sanctuary, having charge at the gates of the house, and ministering to the house. They shall slay the burnt offering and the sacrifice for the people, and they shall stand before them to minister unto them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are ministered unto them before their idols, and caused the house of Israel to fall into
Iniquity.
iniquity. Therefore I have lift up mine hand against them, saint Yahweh God, and they shall bear their in, in, iniquity,
Iniquity.
iniquity,
Iniquity. Okay.
mhm.
All right, go ahead.
And they shall not come to near to me unto me to do the office of a priest unto me,
Priest.
nor priest unto me, nor to come near to any of my holy things in the most holy place, but they shall bear their shame and their abominations which they have committed.
Right. So you see that the Most High said, listen, they can't come into the holy place, the most holy place, sorry. Right? These Levites, they can't come there anymore, right? Because of their abominations before the Most High, bringing in strangers who don't even believe in the word. They're not even circumcised in flesh, for sacrificing, animals that were not perfect, which Yahweh demands in the book of the law, meaning like in Leviticus and Deuteronomy. Um, you know in these particular books where the ordinances are given, they weren't doing things according to the ordinances, but were doing whatever they felt like. Just doing, essentially half-assed lazy work, you know? Um, so the Most I say they're gonna bear their iniquity. Okay, they can't come minister before me in the holy place anymore. All those Levites that did those things. Read on. 14.
But I will make them keepers of the charge of the house for all the service thereof, and for all that shall be done therein.
Right?
But the priest, the Lev, but
The what?
the
The what?
priest,
Mm-hmm.
the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, and that keep the charge of my sanctuary, when the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall come near to me, minister unto me, and they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, saith of saints Yahweh God.
Right. So stop right there. So the Most High said, here's the Levites that's gonna um keep the charge of my sanctuary, okay? The ones that are gonna be allowed to come into the most holy place and do the work there are the sons of Zadok. That's the only ones that can come, right? Because the rest of the Levites, they went off when the rest of the people went off. But the sons of Zadok, they held it down, right? So the Most High say they're the ones that's going to do the work in the most holy place. Okay. Um, go ahead.
They
16.
shall they shall enter into my sanctuary, and they shall come near to my table to minister unto me, and they shall keep my charge.
Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that when they enter in at the gates of the inner court,
Mm-hmm.
they shall be clothed with line, linen garments, and
Linen.
no linen garments, and no wool shall come upon them,
Mm-hmm.
whilst they minister in the gates of the inner court and within.
Right.
They they shall have linen bonnets upon their head, and shall have linen breeches upon their lawns,
Loins, which is their
loins,
waist. Mm-hmm.
and they shall not gird themselves with anything that causeth sweat.
Right. Go ahead.
And and when they go forth into the utter court, even into the utter court, to the people, they shall put off their garments wherein they ministered, and lay them in the holy chambers, and they shall put on other garments, and they shall not sanctify the people with their garments.
Right. Uh, I think you're stopping at 20, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh. Neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks to grow long. They shall only poil their heads.
Pull, meaning trim.
Pull, pull their heads.
Yeah. So they can't have extra long hair, and they can't shave their head either, okay? They can only take a trim, all right? Um, that's the sons of Zadok. Okay, so the sons of Zadok were to have that go into the most holy place where, they can have up to like medium length hair. Um, and um, and yeah, and they can't shave their heads low either. All right. So let's see here. Saba, go ahead.
Mm. Neither shall they take for
Number
their wine,
21.
neither shall any priest drink wine when they enter into the inner court.
Mm-hmm.
Neither shall they take from for their wives a widow, nor her that is put away, but they shall take maidens of the seed of the house of Israel, or a widow that had a priest before.
Go ahead.
And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean.
Discern, meaning make a difference between the clean and unclean. Go ahead.
Mm. And in controversy they shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, and
Mm-hmm.
they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all mine assemblies, and they shall follow my Sabbaths.
Right. So this is a good little precept. The Most High tell you straight up, hey, listen, the those priests, the sons of Zadok, they're the ones who are gonna be the judges, right? So you have an issue, the sons of Zadok will judge the issue. Why? Because they're righteous. They're righteous priests. So they will judge the cause, right? According to what? The Most High's judgment. So if the Most High say, hey, this is supposed to happen, when that occurs, then that's what's gonna happen. If he says you're supposed to get 40 lashes, you're not gonna get 39, etc., etc., right? Um, and it says, they shall keep his laws and his statutes in all his assemblies, and also, hallow his Sabbaths, right? I point that out to show that at the end of the day, the Most High is never double-minded about who his leadership is. He's showing you the sons of Zadok are the judges. They're the leaders of the Israelites, man. The male priests, right? So all this stuff that Esau tries to bring up, and some Israelites try to bring up, concerning the leadership, and sometimes calling Israel a old boys club, this, that, and the other. Hey, listen, man, the reason the men lead is because that's the charge of the men. The charge of the men is to lead, right? And you can see it here how the Most High put the righteous men in such high esteem that he gave them power to even judge the controversies that were happening amongst the Israelites, right? At that time, of course, it being the Levite priests, the sons of Zadok, the righteous of them. And of course, in this time, we are a nation of kings and priests. We are under the Melchizedek order. And so that would make the men of Israel priests, the righteous ones, fit to judge in matters of controversy, and expected to keep the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments in all his assemblies, and to keep holy his Sabbaths, man, his various Sabbaths, right? So this is a really good precept, right? To help you understand leadership and to help you to understand the meaning of the word, or at least one of the meanings of the word judgment, which is to discern between what's right and wrong according to the laws of the Most High in controversy that happens in Israel, right? So go ahead in 25, please.
And they shall come at no dead person to defile themselves, but for father, or for mother, or for son, or for daughter, or for brother, or for sister that hath had no husband, they may defile themselves.
Right,
And after he is cleansed, they shall reckon unto him 7 days. And in the day that he goeth into the sanctuary unto the inner court, that to minister in the sanctuary, he shall offer a sin offering, saith Yahweh, and it shall be unto them for an inheritance. I am their inheritance, and ye shall give them no possession in Israel. I am their possession.
right.
They They shall eat the meat offering and the sin offering and the trespass offering, and every dedicated thing in Israel shall be theirs.
Right. So these righteous priests, these sons of Zadok, these Levites, um, you see the reward the Most High gave them for their righteousness? You bring a meat offering to the Most High, it's them eat it. You get a taste, but hey, it belongs to them. Actually, let me leave out that part with getting a taste, because I know there's certain offerings you eat of. I'm not sure if it was those ones, so I will retract that, until we can um, prove that with the precept. So the meat offering, they eating that. The sin offering, you bring that perfect goat, guess who's getting it, right? The trespass offering, right? And all the dedicated things in Israel, it belonged to these guys, man. So these guys were eating the best of the best. They were getting the best of the best as a reward for their righteousness. And all praise to the Most High for that. I was just telling my son today that that's what the Most High will give you, man, as a reward for your righteousness, right? The best of the best, you know. Go ahead, go ahead, 30.
And the first of all, the first fruits of all things, and every oblation of every sort of your oblations, shall be the priest. Ye shall also give unto the priest the first of your dough, that he may cause the blessing to rest in thine house. And the priest shall not eat of anything that is dead of itself, or torn, whether it be fowl or beast.
Right, so the priest shall keep themselves holy. And listen, man, even your first fruits, man, your grain, your best grain, all your oblations, man, everything you dedicate to the Most High, it goes in the priest's hand and then in the priest's belly, man. That's how it was. That was the reward the Most High gave these guys, uh, who kept his sanctuary, man. He gave them the best of everything. Even the dough, man, the first dough that people make, the priest got it, you know. And the Most High did it showing you, hey, this is righteousness, man. Right? He said, when you bring it to them, that's how you're gonna get a blessing to rest on your house, man. Bringing your first fruits to the Most High priest, man. Right? So all praises. Again, at that time, being those righteous Levite priests, the sons of Zadok. Notice also they were the ones doing the sacrifices for the people, right? Let's see what we have in 45. Again, we're just gonna get the context and then we'll start breaking it down. We're not gonna finish everything today, but we're gonna take our time and go through it because this is a nice lesson and it's important to understand. So we have 25 verses here. Everyone will read 8 verses except Saba. Saba will read 9. So go ahead, Sister Kira.
From verse 2?
No, from verse 1.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. All right. Verse 1. Moreover, when ye shall divide by lot the land for inheritance, ye shall offer an oblation unto Yahweh, an unholy portion of the land. The length shall be the length of 25,000 reeds, and the breadth shall be 10,000. This shall be holy in all the borders thereof round about.
So stop right there. Couple good things we can notice from this verse. Number one, it tells you what an oblation is. It defines an oblation, a holy portion. See that? An oblation is what? A holy portion. Specifically here, it's land. Okay? But it tells you, when you divide your land, you shall offer what? A holy oblation. And what is the holy oblation? A holy portion. So, if you got land, you can have a holy portion of land that you dedicate to the Most High. And you give it to the Most High by bringing it where? To the priest, right? At the time, you bring it to the temple. Yeah, you can have a holy portion of whatever you want, man, and bring it to the priests of the Most High, right? This is kind of what I was getting at when I was talking about us as a congregation starting to build a treasury so that we can do things when we need to get things done, whether it be get a place, whether it be we all need to get out of this country or whatever, right? This is sort of what I was kind of getting at. Because all these things went in the temple treasury because the priests couldn't, just eat all the stuff right away, and stuff like that. But they would preserve it, and if the poor need it and that sort of thing, they would give unto them, be it money, be it food, grain, whatever. They had storehouses specifically for these things, right? And what you guys are going to realize is that the temple of the Most High always had the best of the entire nation, right? It was the richest place, it was the most well-fed place, and so on and so forth. It was the exemplary place in the kingdom of the Most High, right? And it was a place um, by which people got help in the spirit and people also got help, period, in the flesh. So that's one of the things to notice. Another thing to notice is it says the land that we supposed to that Ezekiel was supposed to have the people allot out as a holy portion of land for Yahweh. It tells you what the length and the width was. The length was 520,000 reeds. Okay, so the length is 25,000 reeds. 520,000 is just the old English way of saying 25,000. 25,000 reeds, and that was the length, and the width was 10,000. Okay, so let's look at that a little bit real quick, right? 25,000. Let's see how long is a reed. I know it's 10 feet already, but I'm just gonna do this search live to for you guys to see, right? How long is a reed? A reed, 6 cubits. The length of a reed is given as 6 cubits, each cubit being a cubit and a palm, about 18 inches. The large cubit of 7 palms, or about 10 feet. Okay, so for land, you most likely would have used the large cubit, which is about 10 feet. Okay, so we'll go just for simplicity's sake with 10 feet. Okay, so 25,000 cubits. Sorry, let's see here. Reads. Let's go back to the scripture. It tells you the holy portion was 25,000 reeds. Okay, 25,000 reeds. So 25,000, and then the reed is 10 feet. All right, will give us the number of total feet in length. So 250,000 feet, okay, was the length. So 250,000 feet in let's check in kilometers, since we use kilometers in Toronto. So the length of the land was 76 kilometers. Okay, the length of the land was 76 kilometers. All right. And the width was, let's sort of get this here real quick. Maps. So Google. I think that's the address. Yeah, great. So what are we looking at here? Toronto. Okay. So let's see what 76 kilometers would look like. Measure the distance. That's crazy. Look at that. Huh? What? I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but that's not even 76 kilometers yet. There we go. Okay, so there we go. 80, about, all right. This is about 76 kilometers. So that's Oshawa, Brampton to Oshawa, basically, right? If you're going in a straight line. But 76, there we go. About 76 down here. Right? So from Brampton from Brampton to Oshawa, that was the length of the what do you call it? The holy portion of the land, right? Um Approximately. And then we have the width, which it said was 10,000, right? Right here we got the breadth shall be 10,000.
I can see the side of my
And let's see here, 10,000, which would make this 10,000, 30 kilometers. Okay, so let's try and see what we can get here. 30 kilometers would be about here, right? So this would be, that's it. So if you put it over Toronto, this would be about the size of the holy portion that was for the priests and for the temple. Okay, this would if you put it over Toronto, this would be about the size of the land. Okay, that's pretty big, right? I just wanted to illustrate that because it's good to be able to, you know, root these these words in reality, man, right? Because we know we're not dealing with fantasy here, right? Um, our God is not fantastic; He's spiritual, right? So, in any case, I'll read on from verse 2.
Well,
Sister
sorry, can
Kara,
you hear me? Can you hear me?
yeah,
Sorry about that. Okay.
well,
Of this there shall be for the sanctuary 500 in length, did I already read that?
nope,
No? Okay. 500, 500 in length, with 500 in breadth,
breadth,
square, breadth,
yeah.
square roundabout, and 50 cubits roundabout for the suburbs thereof.
Right. So just to break that down, the sanctuary, the area of land for the sanctuary was square. Okay. 500 reeds by 500 reeds. Okay. Um all right. So about a kilometer and a half. Okay. Square. All right. A square with a kilometer and a half each side. Was the approximate size of the land for the sanctuary. Now let me see if I can wonder if it's gonna allow me. Oh, it's just gonna join them. Okay. Uh, nope, there's no undo. That's all right. Let me clear this. Whoops. About a kilometer and a half square. 1.5 and 1.5 is 3. 4.5, and then finally, it should be what is that? 1.5, the 3, so it should be 6 in total. Yeah, so yeah, okay, it's almost 6 here. There we go. 6. About that. About that amount of land, right? Let's see here. Just to give you some perspective, what is this, a town? This seems to be a town. Schitt's Creek film location. So it is a town. Ah, so this is about the size, all right, um, of the amount of land that the temple had to be put on. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Bigger than this town. Okay, let's go back to the scripts here. Go ahead and read from 3.
And of this measure shalt thou measure the length of 25,000, and the breadth of 10,000, and it shall be the sanctuary and the most holy place.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
Oh. The holy portion of the land shall be for the
Sorry.
priest.
Before you read on, I just want to, just so there's no confusion. It's letting you know that in this large length, in this large piece of land, it's the 500 reeds length and width that's apportioned for the sanctuary and the most holy place. Okay? Does that make sense to everyone? Out of the bigger piece of land, this smaller piece of land of 500 by 500 reeds is the space that the sanctuary is supposed to be built in. Does that make sense to people?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, great. So go ahead. 4.
The holy portion of the land shall be for the priests of the ministers of the sanctuary, which shall come near to minister unto Yahweh, and it shall be a place for their houses, and an unholy place for the sanctuary.
All right, go ahead.
And the 25,000 of length, and the 10,000 of breadth shall also the Levites, the ministers of the house, have for themselves for a possession for 20 chambers.
Go ahead.
And ye shall appoint the possessions of the city of 5,000 broad, and 20,000 long, over against the oblation of the holy portion. It shall be for the whole house of Israel.
Okay, and you shall appoint the possession of the city, 5,000 broad, let's see, and 5,000, what, and 25,000 long, over against the oblation of the holy portion. Okay, and it shall be for the whole house of Israel. All right, so this is what he's basically saying. The piece of land that you have, how can I do this easily? Let me go here. Over against just means adjacent. Okay, if you check another uh, translation, let's see. It'll show you that that just means adjacent, which is next to Ezekiel 45. Mm. And we're in 6. Whoops. See? So this is the Berean Standard Bible. As the property of the city, you are to set aside an area 5,000 cubits wide and 25,000 cubits long, adjacent to the holy district. Okay, adjacent. All right, and adjacent just means close to or near something. All right, next to or adjoining. All right, right next to, adjoining, next door. So all he's saying is this. Let's see here. Let's get a copy of this. Just mm, where's the shapes? Square? Okay, so right next to the to this portion, you're gonna have another portion. Okay, so let's see. The holy portion here. Right, and you got the citizen portion here. That's all it's saying. All right, that's all it's saying. So let's read it again. 5. 6, sorry.
Okay. And ye shall appoint the possession of the city 5,000 broad, and 25,000 long, over against the oblation of the holy portion. It shall be for the whole house of Israel.
Okay, so stop right there. Again, this is 25,000. This has 25,000 length. Whoa, what happened there? Right, and the width was what was the width on this one? What's that, 20,000? 10,000. That one was 10,000. Whoops. Right, so the holy portion was 25,000 long by 10,000, and then the citizen portion was, I'm pretty sure it just said 5,000, and it was the same length as the holy portion. Okay, so hopefully you guys see that. Hopefully that's clear. Let's read on. Anyone have any questions about that? Is that not clear to anyone? All right, okay. Go ahead then, Sister Kira.
All right, verse 7. And a portion shall be for the prince on the side and on the other side of the oblation of the holy portion, and the possession of the city, for the oblation of the holy portion, and before the possession of the city, from the west side westward, and from the east side eastward, and the length shall be over against one of the portions, from the west border unto the east border.
All right, so let's see if we can get a little more clear understanding here. This is where these translations kind of shine. Okay, we are in 7. Just trying to get a little bit of because it's just gonna take a minute to kind of break all of that down. So, now the prince will have an area bordering each side of the area formed by the holy district and the property of the holy city. So the prince will have an area bordering each side of the area formed by the holy district and the property of the city, extending westward from the western side and eastward from the eastern side, running lengthwise from the western boundary to the eastern boundary, and parallel to one of the tribal portions. I still don't get that. The prince shall belong, so to the prince shall belong the land on both sides of the holy district, okay, and the property of the city, alongside the holy district and the property of the city on the west side and on the east, corresponding in length to one of the tribal portions and extending from the western to the eastern boundary, alongside the holy district. I think what they're saying is basically say under here, under like on this side of the holy portion, the prince is gonna have his portion. All right. Now, that's not too important to get those exact measurements right now because that's not really the point of this study, but I wanted to see if we could have got the illustration as we're going with the illustrations. Okay. But read 7 one more time and then read on.
And a portion shall be for the prince on the one side and on the other side of the oblation of the holy portion, and of the possession of the city, before the oblation of the holy portion, and before the possession of the city, from the west side westward, and from the east side eastward, and the length shall be over against one of the portions, from the west border unto the east border.
Read on.
In the land shall be his possession in Israel, and many princes shall no more oppress my people, and the rest of the land shall they give to the house of Israel according to their tribes. Thus saith the Lord,
Sorry. Read that again.
in the land shall be his possession in Israel, and my princes shall no more oppress my people, and the rest of the land shall they give to the house of Israel according to their tribes.
Right. Right. So, note here that it says, and my princes shall no more oppress my people. Because notice, remember, we're trying to figure out who is this prince that's being spoken about in Ezekiel 45. And it's more than Ezekiel 45. It's really Ezekiel 44 to 46, um, mainly. Um, but again, we're trying to figure out who is this particular prince. So this clue here is important. The Most High said, my princes shall no more oppress my people, and the rest of the land shall they give to the house of Israel according to their tribes. Okay. So these princes at this particular time were oppressing the people, right? So this should already start to give you clues as to who this is and who this is not, right? They are oppressing the people, right? Okay. So, KK, go ahead. You're reading from 9 to 16.
Ye, thus saith Yahweh God, let it
Suffice.
suffice you, O princess of Israel,
O princes of Israel.
O princes of Israel, remove violence and spoil, and execute judgment and justice. Take away your extractions from
Exactions.
exactions from my people.
Right. So these exactions, these are like, for lack of a better word, taxes, right? So uh, more like extortions, right? So take away, they were charging the people usury, which is interest, right? And I'll leave it at that, right? They were charging the people usury, okay, which is against the law to charge your people. It's against the law to charge Israelites interest on loans that you borrow them. All right. So these are the things that they were doing. They were also stealing the people's lands, kicking the common people off their lands. This is what the princes were doing. They were kicking the common people off their lands and giving those lands to their children, right? So the Most High is speaking against it, right, through the prophet Ezekiel. Go ahead.
Saints Yahweh
Nice and loud, please. Nice and loud.
saith Yahweh God, ye shall have just balances and a just ephah and just bath.
And a just bath. These are all measurements, right? A balance is obviously a scale, and an ephah and a bath. These are two measurements which we reviewed years ago. Maybe we should revisit that just to kind of freshen our minds on what weight that is. But go ahead.
The F the, the ephah and the bath shall be of one measure,
Right,
and that bath may contain the 10th part of a homer,
right.
and the ephah the 10th part of a homer.
Mm-hmm.
The measure thereof shall be after the homer,
Right.
and the shekel shall be 20 gerahs, 20 shekels, 20 shekels, 15 shekels shall be your manna.
Now 5 and 20 shekels. So 25 shekels plus 15 shekels gonna be your manna. Okay, so this is your measure. You need a manna. It's 25 shekels plus 15 shekels, which is equal to, is that 40? 25 and 15 is 40. Okay, that'll be your manna. All right. I read on.
This is the oblation that ye shall offer.
Right, so this is the holy portion you're gonna offer to the Most High. Go ahead.
The 6th part of an ephah of an homer of wheat, and ye shall give the 6th part of an ephah of a homer of barley.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Considering the
Concerning
or the ordinance
You
of
got it.
oil,
Break it down. You got the syllables. Ordinance.
ordinance of oil, the bath of oil, ye shall offer the 10th part, a bath out of the core,
Mm-hmm.
which is an homer of 10 baths.
Mm-hmm.
For 10 baths are a homer.
Right. Go ahead.
And one lamb out of the flock, out of 200, out of the fat pastures of Israel, for a meat offering, and for a burnt offering, and for peace offerings, to make a reconciliation for them, reconciliation for them, saith Yahweh God.
Right. So notice here in 15, the Most High gives Ezekiel all the ordinances to make reconciliation for the house of Israel. Right? When do you have to make reconciliation for people? When do you have to make reconciliation for people, family? Anyone know?
At a specific time.
No, not at a specific time. It's for a specific purpose. Let's pull up reconciliation. When is reconciliation to be made? Reconciliation, the restoration of friendly relations. Okay, this is really what we're looking for. Reuniting, pacification, resolution. Remember this word? Propitiation. We looked at this. The act of propitiating or appeasing a god. When do you have to make an appeasement? Here's the answer right here. A reconciliation is an atonement. When do you have to make an atonement?
When you pray,
No,
peace.
no.
Oh,
You make an atonement. Why? Why are atonements made? Why, when do you have to appease the Most High? When you've done what? Or when do you have to reunify yourself with the Most High?
when you've
Obviously,
sinned.
that's right. When you have sinned. So here in 15, it says that all these animals are to be offered in order to make a reconciliation, a peace offering, and atonement for the Israelites. Which means if there's an atonement being made for the Israelites by animal sacrifices, number one, they're sinning. Number two, they're still doing animal sacrifices. So that starts to give you a clue as to when this is exactly talking about. This starts to give you a clue as to the ordinances of what temple are being described here, just from reading the thing in its totality, right? And we're going to go through the precepts to break it all down step by step. But just by reading the context, you can start to notice what the heck is really going on, you know? So read your last verse, KK, and then we'll have Saba take over.
All that is the people of the land shall give this
Oblation,
oblation for the prince in Israel.
right. So, so yeah, they're gonna give this oblation for the prince in Israel. So this is where the confusion begins. This is one of the points where the confusion begins. They're like, for the prince, right? What they're giving animals to make a reconciliation for the prince, right? Which prince is gonna need a reconciliation, right? Which prince needs this particular holy oblation, right? Which prince needs you to apportion a piece of land for him, right? Now, from reading this thing over, it looked to me like, oh man, it looked to me like this is what the scripture was describing. And I may be wrong. I mean, we can always, again, this is not the focus. So if I'm wrong, we'll correct it later. But this is what I'm seeing, right? On either side of the of what we have. From before, you have the portion that is for um the prince, right? So this is what it looks like to me that the scriptures were saying. Prince's land, right? On this side. Whoops. Okay, let's push that back. What's happening here? Sure. Okay, we'll do the same thing here. Prince's land. Okay, so it looked to me like this is what it was basically saying on either side, one side of the citizen side, and then the other side, is for the prince. All right, so going back here, this and this is to be given for the prince of Israel. All right. Um, Now I think Sabs, it's your turn. Go ahead.
And it shall be the prince's part to give burnt offerings and meat offerings and drink offerings in the feast and in the new moons and in the Sabbaths, in all solemn in all solemnities of the house of Israel. He shall prepare the sin offering and the meat offering and the burnt offering and the peace offerings to make reconciliation for the house of Israel.
This verse is also really important. There's a particular person who is charged with making reconciliation for the house of Israel. And here, this person is called the prince, right? But when we look at the precepts, whose job is it to do these particular things? And this is some of what the precepts are going to break down. Read on.
Thus saith Yahweh, in the first month, in the first day of the month, thou shalt take a young bullock without blemish, and cleanse the sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering, and put it upon the post of the house, and upon the four corners of the settle of the altar, and upon the post of the gate of the inner court. And so thou shalt do the 7th day of the month for everyone that eareth, and for him that is simple, so shall ye reconcile the house.
Go ahead. So every week you're supposed to do a sin offering, okay? Um, for anyone that has made a mistake, okay, or anyone that doesn't understand, right? They're simple, right? Meaning, they're I they're essentially how do you say it? What we would say in the island is retarded, right? But it's somebody that is not fully mentally developed. Okay, so they can't understand these particular concepts, right? So in case there's any sin done by that person, you would do an animal sacrifice to cleanse the house and make sure the house is pure for the mistakes of the priest that came and did things, you know, and sinned basically against the ordinance. And for those that were not did not have the mental faculties to be able to understand um, the laws of sanctity, sanctity, and did things in a way that was sinful against the Most High. So go ahead.
In the first month, in the 14th day of the month, ye shall have the Passover, a feast of 7 days. Unleavened bread shall be eaten. And upon that day shall the prince prepare for himself and all and for all the people of the land a bullock for a sin offering.
Here's another really important verse. The prince is preparing for himself and also for all the people of the land a sin offering. So hopefully now you're starting to see who this cannot be. If there is a man that have no sin, how can a sin offering be offered for that man? It doesn't make any sense. So there's one person that we can already scratch off the list, and we have more precepts to be able to scratch him off the list, right? But this particular prince is preparing a sin offering for himself and also for all the people of the land, which means both him and the people of the land are sinning. This also helps us to place where in time this is happening. At the time it's happening, the prince and the the people of the land have sinned. They're able to sin against the Most High. And what you're going to understand from the precepts is that there is a time in the future where that cannot happen, that will not be happening. So this particular ordinance is being given cannot be for the so-called third temple, right? Because during that particular time, as we'll see in the precepts, there is no sin being committed by the leadership or the common people, all right, of Israel. All right. So go ahead. Finish it off, Subs.
And he shall prepare a meat offering of an ephah for a bullock,
No, no,
and
no. No, you gotta read 23.
7 days of the feast he shall prepare a burnt offering to Yahweh, 7 bullocks and 7 rams without blemish daily, the 7 days, and a kid of the goats daily for a sin offering.
Right. So
And
again, you have the sin offering being offered and a burnt offering being offered by this particular prince. Okay, so this 23 starts to give you a little bit of a clue as to who this prince is, because this prince is here busy offering offerings on behalf of the people. And we know this is the role of a very specific group of people within Israel. In verse 44, we read and saw that it was the sons of Zadok, the particular Levites that were offering offerings, that were doing the offerings on behalf of the people and keeping the charge of the most holy place. All right. Um, so when we see here that, sin offerings are being made, we can't all of a sudden start to push that responsibility on other people that the Most High did not give this particular responsibility. I will break this whole particular issue down through the precepts, right? Go ahead. 24.
and he shall prepare a meat offering of an ephah for a bullock, and an ephah for a ram, and an hin of oil for an ephah. In the 7th month, in the 15th day of the month, shall he do the like in the feast of 7 days, according to the sinner offering, according to the burnt offering, and according to the meat offering, and according to the oil.
And according to the oil, right? So in the 7th month, again, this prince gonna do these particular offerings: the sin, the burnt, the meat or the grain, which is the grain, and then the oil. All right. Now we got 46. 24 verses. We'll get 8 each. Sister Kira, if you can start off again, that would be great. Ezekiel 46 from verse 1.
Thus said, thus said, is that Yahweh? No.
That's Yahweh.
Thus say Yahweh, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened.
So stop right there. So the temple itself has a wall, right? Let's see if we can find it. Hmm. Let's see here. Hold on. Temple, floor plan. Mm, not getting it here. Mm. All right, not getting it here. Not getting what I want. It's okay. Um, okay. Go back from one again and read on.
Starting from 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Thus saith Yahweh, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened.
Right. So that I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's an outer wall and there's an inner wall. Okay, so that inner wall, the gate is gonna be closed the 6 working days. It's only gonna be open on the Shabbat, right? And the new moons. Okay. So go ahead.
And the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate without, and shall stand there by the post of the gate. And the priest shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. And he shall go forth, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening.
Go ahead.
Like Likewise, the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before Yahweh in the Sabbaths and in the new moons.
Go ahead.
And the burnt offering that the prince shall offer unto Yahweh in the Sabbath day shall be six lambs without blemish, and a ram without blemish. And the meat offering shall be an
Ephah.
ephah for a ram, and the meat offering for the lambs as he shall be able to give, and an hin of oil to an ephah.
Mm-hmm.
And in the day of the new moon it shall be a young bullock without blemish, and 6 lambs and a ram. They shall be without blemish.
Go ahead.
And he shall prepare a meat offering, an ephah for a bullock, and an ephah for a ram, and for the lambs according as his hand shall attain unto, and a hin of oil to an ephah.
Go ahead.
And when the prince shall enter, he shall go in by the way of the porch of that gate, and he shall go forth by the way thereof.
Mm-hmm.
But when the people of the land shall come before Yahweh in the solemn feast, he that entereth in by the way of the north gate to worship shall go out by the way of the south gate, and he that entereth by the way of the south gate shall go forth by the way of the north gate. He
Mm-hmm.
shall not return by the way of the gate whereby he came in, but shall go forth over against it.
Right. So if you gotta if you come from the north gate, you gotta go to the south. Um um and let's see. Yeah. Okay, so you can't first of all, no one can use the east gate, right? And you can't go out by the same gate that you came in. All right, so go ahead.
And the prince in the midst of them, when they go in, shall go in, and when they go forth, shall go forth.
Go ahead.
And they,
Oh, wait, I think you passed your whole thing already. I didn't notice, sorry. KK, thank you. Thank you very much, Kira. KK, go ahead.
Not available.
Okay. Uh, Kira, you want to read a few more verses?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, just read until 12 and then I'll get Salves to take over. You can go back from 10.
Okay. And the prince in the midst of them, when they go in, shall go in, and when they go forth, shall go forth.
Mm-hmm.
And in the feast and in the solemnities,
Solemnities.
and in the solemnities, the meat offering shall be an ephah to a bullock, and an ephah to a ram, and the lambs as he is able to give, and an hin of oil to an ephah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the prince shall prepare a voluntary burnt offering, or peace offerings voluntary unto Yahweh, one shall, shall open him the gate that looketh toward the east, and he shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, as he did on the Sabbath day.
Mm-hmm.
Then he shall go forth, and after his going forth, one shall shut the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt,
Oh,
thou,
wait. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank
no
you.
problem.
Sabs, go ahead.
And thou shalt daily prepare a burnt offering unto Yahweh of a lamb of the first year without blemish. Thou shalt prepare it every morning. And thou shalt prepare a meat offering for it every morning, the sixth part of an ephah, and the third part of an hin of oil, to
Mm-hmm.
temper with the fine flour, a meat offering continually by a perpetual ordinance unto Yahweh.
Right, go ahead.
Thus shall prepare the lamb in the
They
meat
prepare.
thus shall they prepare the lamb and the meat offering and the oil every morning for a continual burnt offering.
Mm-hmm.
Thus saith Yahweh, if the prince give a gift unto any of his sons, the inheritance thereof shall be his sons. It shall be their possession by inheritance.
So stop right there. Here's another clue, right? Showing who the prince is and who the prince isn't, right? It says the prince has sons, man. So right away, there's a certain man we can scratch off that list because he never had no sons, right? They say the prince is Messiah, but Messiah never had no sons. So right there, we can already see this prince cannot be Messiah, right? Cannot be a Yahushua. This prince has sons, and we looked at already. He also oppressed the people, man, or he got warned not to oppress the people. And we know Yahushua was faultless, so he would not have been oppressing anyone, right? I will break these down with more scripts when we really dive into it, which we won't get a chance to do today. It looks like today we'll just get a chance to do the reading, and then we'll wrap, and then it looks like part two will really get to get into it, right? So possession by an inheritance of verse 17.
But if he give a gift of his inheritance to one of his servants, then it shall be his to the year of liberty. After it shall return to the prince, but his inheritance shall be his sons for them.
Go ahead.
Moreover, the prince shall not take of the people's inheritance by oppression to thrust them out of their possession, but he shall give his son's inheritance out of his own possession, that my people be not scattered every man from his possession.
Go ahead.
After he brought me through the entry, which was at the side of the gate, into the holy chambers of the priest, which looked toward the north, and behold, there was a place on the two sides westward.
All right.
Then said he unto me, This is the place where the priest shall boil the trespass offerings and the sin offerings,
Mm-hmm.
where they shall bake the meat offering, that they bear them not out into the utter court to sanctify the people.
right? Sava, get closer to the mic or something because your volume dropped down a bit. Go ahead.
Then he brought me forth into the utter court, and caused me to pass by the four corners of the court. And behold, in every corner of the court there was a court. In in the four corners of the court there were courts joined of 40 cubits,
Mm-hmm.
long and 30 broad.
Right.
These four corners were of one measure,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a row of building round about them four, and it was made with boiling places under the rows round about.
Right.
Then said he unto me, These are the places of them that boil, where the ministers of the house shall boil the sacrifice of the people.
Right. And again, you know, here's another or a final clue, I guess, to wrap. It says the ministers of the temple are gonna boil what? The sacrifices of the people in this particular place, right? Including what? Sin offerings, right? So by now you should be able to see that this you should be able to place this temple in time, right? And see what temple this is really talking about. So if I can get some thoughts on that real quick, that'll be great. And then we'll pray out, blow the trumpet, and we'll be back next week to really dive into the precepts showing all of these things. So from just this reading, right? You guys can open up your lines, and we can talk about sort of where in time you see this temple and what kind of temple you think this is just right off the bat. But let me just stop the recording. And for those that joined us this week, thanks for joining us. And if you want to learn more truth about the Most High, just subscribe. And if you know Israelites out there that need to hear this, definitely share it with them. All right. Peace unto you.